Hey, it's Joe Glines, the the-automator, and this is another interesting extract from the AHK Hero Club. Today's little extract, we talk about how you may or may not want to use AutoHotkey 32 versus 64-bit, and how you can actually have a preference in your code to choose between them. It was really interesting. I didn't know you could have a preference. So consider joining the Hero group. This is the kind of topics we discuss and help people with. And like this video if you learned something, really helps us out. And have a great day. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Now, Isaias, let's go into, because this came out the other morning. I got an email from a person that bought Pasta's image or something close to that, and it wasn't working for him. So I asked Irfan to look at it, and it worked fine for Irfan. And we were going through, it was crashing. It was weird. You would paste it in Gmail, and it would crash Gmail. And yet, like, when we would do stuff, it wouldn't do it. So what we finally realized is from a little testing, I'm like, Irfan, switch your bitness of AutoHotkey. And sure enough, that's what it was. It only ran in 32-bit, but I don't know why it would crash the Gmail. It was really, to me, weird. But whatever it, when we did that, would get pushed in there, it clearly wasn't what they wanted and would crash, literally crash. It's not like, yeah, I mean, it was gone. So I told Irfan, hey, let's force 32-bit mode. And I told Irfan, and I put the code, if you look at the file path in the file, I'm like, in V1, I'm like, I remember we have something, a function for forcing the bitness, but I couldn't remember what it was. And so we just, used, I think we either Irfan just wrote it, or I found a different one, or AI wrote it. But do you see the run with in the V1 libraries run with?
V1 libraries run with. Okay, let me look at
Well,
it.
in my library, I think this, I didn't really look at the code, but just from memory, this should be a very simple thing to convert to V2. It's
Let's see.
not a big amount of code in the first place, but it's a really great topic of you can force your script to run with, obviously you use the requires command, and you can say requires even the
Yeah,
this might just been the easy way to do that.
that's what I was gonna say. Like in V2, we don't need to force
Right.
this run with anymore. This was something that was needed in V1, and actually not even now we don't need it in
Yeah,
V1
they
either
back ported
because
it,
it
right?
works, right? So just it tells you how long we have been working with our hotkey, because at this point we didn't even have that. So the idea was we check what version we have. So 32 version equals 32. So that means whatever I pass here, if I
Well,
use 32, I will have a 4 if it is 32, if those two are equal. So if you tell me, give me 32, and it is equal to 32, I will have a 4, and that 4, I'm going to compare it to the pointer size. If they're the same, I stop right there. Because I don't have to do anything, because we are already in the version that you want. We are in 32-bit, we stop right there. If they're different, so I told you to run it in 32-bit, but this is not the same. I passed 64, it's not 64, it's gonna give me an 8. That 8, I'm gonna compare it to the current pointer size, and if they're not the same, so we're not in 64-bit, then it will do this. It will go ahead and grab the AHK path, split it, and grab the directory. Check if the file exists. So we have to find whether the AutoHotkey U64-bit is in that path. And if I find it, then I will just run the script with that version. So I will rerun the script with that version and then exit the application. So we were effectively reloading the script in the version that we needed, right? Now, here's the difference, Joe. With the requires, when you double click, it will just say, hey, I cannot run because I need this version. This just relaunches with that version. So we can definitely convert it to V2. Not a problem. Because one thing is to force you to use something, which I'm going to force right now. The only thing that you have to do here is use the requires directive and say, I need 1.1.33 plus. That's it. And as soon as I tell you that that's what I require, because of that fact that I'm saying that I need 1.1 plus, it should tell you, hey, you are in AutoHotkey V2, you should not be able to launch it, because this only launches within the same version, if I remember right, major version. So that's the reason why, that's the new way of doing this. If I do this and I say, hey, my script requires, requires that, and I want to say message box true, but I use the version 2 of AutoHotkey, what will happen is that I will get an error. It would say, hey, this script requires this, but you're trying to launch it with this. And interestingly, I can force a bitness here by saying 32-bit. So even if I switch to V1, if I have the wrong bitness, it will still throw an error. It says, look, you're trying to run a 32-bit script, but you're using Unicode 64-bit. So
No, it's a good point, because the client, when I wrote back and said, hey, chances are we understand you were using the 64-bit version of V1, not the 32-bit version. We added code to force that. His reply was, well, I don't have any computers that are 32-bit. They're all 64-bit. I'm like, no. It's not the
that has
OS.
nothing to do with your computer, right?
That point is, just to understand his level, right? He didn't quite understand that, like, I was referring to the bitness of AutoHotkey, and that you could
Right.
still run 32-bit from a 64-bit, but not the other way.
That is correct.
Um,
That is correct.
so
The
it's
other way
good.
around is not possible. If you're in a 32-bit computer, you cannot easily run 64-bit code. You can't. You have to kind of like virtualize that. But in a 64-bit, you can run both 32 and 64. That's correct. Now, here, we can make this as a soft limit. So if I want 32-bit, but it's okay if you run in 64-bit, I could make this a preference instead of hard-coded. So right now, this is 64. What it's going to do is just going to tell you that you can't because you're hard-coding 32-bit, but you're running 64-bit. But you can make a comment here as prefer, right, 32-bit. What this does is that it still sets the preference. And many times what happens is if you have the launcher, if you double click the script and it launches through the launcher will look for the 32-bit for you and launch it with 32-bit when it can. But if it doesn't find it, it will still launch with 64-bit. Does that make sense? It tries to launch it with 32-bit as a preference, and you can run this and it will run, even though, look at this down here, it is 64-bit right down here, and it ran. Yeah. If I don't make it a preference here, it will not run. It will just stop right there. That was something that is very interesting to note, that certain times you have a script that you prefer to run it in 32-bit, but nothing happens if you run it in 64-bit.
Sorry, maybe I misunderstood you. I thought you said, I guess I was just, I thought you said when you compile it, it would try to use it, but you just, when you're running.
No, even running. Yes, that's right. But the launcher searches for the 32-bit version first. If it doesn't find it, it will try to launch with 64-bit because it's just a preference. It's not like you're forcing that. And I would definitely use this for 64 like that. Hey, I prefer 64-bit, but if I don't find it, then launch with 32-bit. That's a very nice way of doing it. Go ahead, Connie.
But it's reading a comment. That's very strange.
Well, it is.
Which is also why I thought when he was talking about the compiler, because I'm like, okay, I understand the compiler. It does, which is, and I was going to say, this is the shit that drives me nuts. Of like, it's a comment.
Yes.
Make it 2 semicolons.
Right? It's a strange thing. So what that means is AutoHotkey, the actual AutoHotkey executable looks at this text, and before running it, it removes all the comments, right? But in this instance, for the requires, remember, this is a directive. this is happening even before we're launching anything. Because it is a directive, this line is read before we even try and launching anything. So it seems to be that the comment is being processed beforehand. And after that process, that those directives are processed, then all comments are removed from the code, and then the execution continue. But this comment is special because it is inside a directive. I don't know of any other directive that does this, which, to your point, is extremely weird, but that's how it works. And it is just a preference. And I understand that he made it as a comment because it is a preference. If I don't have it as a comment, then it is no longer a preference. It is actually a rule, an enforced rule.
And the other thing that, to me, this is where I'd say, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm not a programmer, right? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
when in the world would I prefer? Oh, this works with either one, but I prefer this it either works with it or it doesn't. Oh, I know some people like 64, depending on your data and what you're doing, and like you can get it.
Wow, that's exactly what I was going for. Like 64-bit gives you bigger data structures, right? So if you have flags, for example, one variable, one integer can hold 64 flags at this point, right? Now, if you're in a 32-bit computer, that automatically becomes 32 flags. So you now have to create two integers for that, right? So in AutoHotkey, we don't do that very often, though.
I don't think there is. Is there a variable that tells you how much memory your current script is taking up?
How much memory the current script is taking on. I'm not sure what that means. Like, for example, if I go open Task Manager and I could see how much memory is using, or are you referring to?
Oh, exactly that. Right.
Yeah, well, I would use Task Manager to see, okay, so this AutoHotkey script, no, it's not a variable. No. I would have to go here and look at what the working set versus the private bytes are. So this is about 3 megabytes, more or less.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, well, to some degree, depending on what you're doing, changing what you just did, we should see a slight shift in the amount.
In how much memory is going to use, right? Very likely. In a 64-bit computer, yeah, in a 64-bit computer, that's probably true.
Right. I would just think that those two things would use different amounts of memory.
Yes. So, in any case, this is a very tricky situation. 99% of the time, if you're creating small scripts, the fact that they're 64 or 32-bit, that really doesn't matter. It starts to make sense when you start loading DLL files. And here it says, I saw you were using SQLite alongside JSON. I have an example. This is something about a DLL. So here's the thing. It's a SQLite DLL and stuff. And here's the thing. What happens here is, for me, in some of my scripts, I use a SQLite DLL file. I now have to make sure that I'm loading the right DLL for the right version. So if I'm loading AutoHotkey 64-bit, I have to load the 64 DLL version of SQLite. And if I'm loading the 32-bit version of AutoHotkey, I need the 32-bit DLL file for SQLite. That's where it starts to get tricky when you do that. For normal code, I don't think you need to worry too much about this, but it seems to be that the code that you guys were working with, Joe, either they had a DLL or they had some code that was using a very specific bit version of that DLL. And then, yes, that's where it makes sense to, hey, I have to launch it in 32-bit because the DLL is 32-bit, and it would fail because the address space, and the reason why it was crashing is there is a memory address, and when it is 32-bit, is a very specific way. And if you use the 64-bit version, when I say, give me this address, then it's looking at the address in the wrong spot, and that wrong spot might crash the computer. Yeah, so Google is just saying, hey, you tried to access a wrong spot. Let me stop everything here because you might have corrupted the data.
No, but, well, again, what threw me was it wasn't the AutoHotkey script that was crashing. It was
I know
the Gmail of
paste something. But that was Chrome. So that's a feature of Chrome making sure everything is safe. So let's say that this is the address that you want to access, right? So you want to access here. And the AutoHotkey script, HK told Chrome, hey, I want to access the 10th position. All right. So I want to access there. But because of the version, the Bitness, what you want to access is not on position 10. It's a little bit further down the right. So when you look at the 10th position, it's this. And Chrome is saying, hey, you're trying to access a memory location that doesn't belong to you. And you might actually corrupt the whole thing. So let me stop that action. And let me stop Gmail. It stopped that tab
But hold on.
from corrupting, basically, is what is happening.
Yeah, but I didn't look at the code, but I can, because it's not built for Gmail, right? It's built for
Right.
we're pushing stuff into the clipboard first and then pasting. So that's why, to me, it's in the clipboard getting pasted to Gmail. Gmail's not looking at memory, it's just looking at the clipboard. But the clipboard is wrong. Like, it's definitely wrong, right? So it just still surprises
Yeah.
that Gmail was
The thing is what happens. Have you ever seen this so for example, if I use numget on an invalid address, what would happen to AutoHotkey is that it would kind of like crash and tell you AutoHotkey is unstable and now it's going to crash. Something like that happened with Chrome in this case for that tab.
Again, that makes sense to me because AutoHotkey is the one connecting to that and doing it. We're using AutoHotkey to go do something, shove it into the clipboard, and then just send paste. So
right, but AutoHotkey made a request to Chrome, but the one that is trying to access the memory is Chrome. So when Chrome said, "Okay, you told me to access address 0," Chrome tries it and says, "Oh shit, that's invalid," and it crashes itself.
Again, I disagree. It's
Well, that's usually how it works in this case, because as you said, it doesn't seem like AutoHotkey is actually trying to access something specific.
No, I'm saying AutoHotkey is trying to access something specific. Chrome isn't.
Okay, I see. All right, I will have to look at the code and see.
Yeah, it doesn't
matter. macOS dropped support for running 32-bit programs on their 64-bit computers, and that was a really rough time. Just imagine that now you cannot run AutoHotkey 32-bit. Like, how do you test for older computers? Like, how do you create a program for older computers? Now you can't. And it was a rough time. Yes, like I could imagine.